Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka Mono Bluetron, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. So, today we're playing around with a card that was spoiled literally hours ago, Cyberdarkness Dragon, I think is what that Japanese text says. Now, I know what you're thinking, why not wait for more support before making this video? Well, it's because I've been burned by Konami too many times, and even though it looks like there are some other Cyberdark guys on the portrait of Cyberdarkness Dragon, I'm not willing to hedge my bets based on what looks like a dildo coming out of the top of Cyberdarkness's head. So, let's see what we've brewed up in the meantime. So, here's the list. Now, since it's a 60 card build, there is considerably more jank in this than usual, so as always, I'll be sure to give you an overview of the archetype, a discussion of what I hope the deck can do, and as always, the card by card. So, first, for those of you that don't know, Cyberdark is an archetype that I don't think was ever good. It's a remnant of GX, and while the monsters actually have pretty cool effects, it was never good enough to compete. The hallmark monster, Cyberdark Dragon, is an amalgamation of the three tribal monsters, Cyberdark Keel, Horn, and Edge, which are just really poorly named. Each of these monsters, including the new fusion and the old fusion as well, allow you to equip a dragon-type monster from your graveyard to your Cyberdark on summon, and then give the Cyberdark attack equal to the monster you equipped. Now, before you get visions of blue eyes dancing in your head, the little guys, Horn, Edge, and Keel, all set a limit of 3 stars for their materials, and while the fusions have no limit, they are prohibitively difficult to summon. Back in the day, the best thing you could do was slap a twin-headed behemoth on these suckers and hope for the best, but now we've got something much spicier to do. The deck is designed to make up for the lack of consistency and power of the individual Cyberdark monsters by supplementing it with a synergistic, consistent, and powerful Blue Eyes engine. We're also trading the ability to normal summon a big, dumb 2300 attack beatstick with some combo enablers like Dragoonity Phalanx. We've got 3 basic game plans. If, after lawn mowing, we have Phalanxes in grave and Cyberdarks in hand, we can normal summon a Cyberdark, equip a Phalanx, special summon it, and go into a rank 6. Now, hilariously, the Phalanx does not care what it is equipped to, so we can special it even though it's not going to be equipped to a Dragoonity. Additionally, if we are holding a Phalanx and we have a Zephyros in grave, we can make Dragoonity Knight, and then special summon the Phalanx to go into Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Our second game plan involves hitting multiple Cyberdarks, which we can then use Instant Fusion, Cyberdark Impact, and Overload Fusion with in order to finagle a Cyberdark Dragon or a Cyberdarkness Dragon out from our extra deck. Our third game plan involves milling a bunch of Blue Eyes shit and going into Resilient rank 8s and 9-star Synchros with our White Stones and Blue Eyes White Dragons. I mean, worst case scenario, we're just basically playing a Blue Eyes deck that makes 6-star Synchros really easily. So, here's the card by card. First, we have the Cybermen, 3 copies of Keel, which deals 300 damage to your opponent if it destroys a monster by battle. Just a fantastic effect. 3 copies of Horn, which does piercing, another top-tier ability, and 3 copies of Edge, which can attack direct... that sounds pretty good. Oh, no, it can attack directly, but the damage it does to your opponent is halved if you do so. Okay, it is sufficiently mediocre. Next, we have 3 copies of Phalanx, which can special summon itself if it is equipped to a monster, and is actually basically the only good target in our deck for the Cyberdarks. After that is the Blue Eyes stuff. We have 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon, the heart and soul of any greedy Blue Eyes player. 3 alternative Right Dragon. Just a really good backup plan, to be honest. 1 copy of Dragon Spirit of White, since we are playing a lot of Dragon Shrine and a bunch of eggs. Said eggs are next. 3 copies of the good one and 1 copy of the bad one. After that, we have 3 Spirit. I have no idea how to use this card, but apparently it's pretty good. And finally, we have our 2 Zephyros the Elite for the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon package and our 2 Fairy Tale Snow. Next to our spells, 3 copies of That Grass Looks Greener or Lawn Mowing Next Door, the best card in the deck. 3 copies of Dragon Shrine for Blue Eyes and Phalanx setups. 3 Melody of Awakening Dragon in order to set up the grave and make an alt-right play. 3 copies of Dragon Monster Reborn, which gets better with lawn mowing. 2 copies of Dragoonity Ravine to find Phalanx and make Blue Eyes White Dragon plays. 3 copies of Terraforming to find Ravine. 2 copies of Twin Twisters to set up the grave and, well, do Twin Twister things. 2... Cyberdark Impact. This is the most hilarious card that's ever been printed, to be honest, and I never expect to cast it. 2 copies of Instant Fusion for rank 4 plays, and hilariously Phalanx setups, more on that in a sec. 2 copies of Overload Fusion, another card that I can't imagine casting, but makes making Cyberdark Dragon much easier. 1 copy of Soul Charge, 1 copy of Regeki, and 1 copy of Future Fusion doing what I expect it was actually designed for, making Cyberdark Dragon. After that, we've got 2 copies of Solemn Strike and 1 Warning to round out the list. In the extra, we have 1 copy of Marvelous, which hilariously means Instant Fusion plus Phalanx makes Crystal Wing. You can Special summon the Marvelous, normal summon the Phalanx, go into Dragoonity Knight, detach the Phalanx to make Crystal Wing. Just really, really funny. One copy of Norden for our rank 4 plays. One copy of 5 God Dragon to basically give anyone we play instant fusion against the worst PTSD of their life. One copy of Cyberdarkness Dragon. This card is actually kind of insane, and if the Cyberdark support ends up being good, this might be playable. It allows you to equip a dragon or machine monster from your graveyard to this card. It gains attack equal to the attack of the monster equipped to it, of course, and then during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send an equipped card you control to the graveyard to negate the activation and destroy the card, which of course Cyberdarkness will have at least one of. After that, we have one copy of Boring Cyberdark Dragon, one copy of Dragoonity Knight Vandrina, which can put a Phalanx on itself when it's synchro summoned, one Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is the payoff, one Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. After that, of course, you've got Azure Eyes and a couple 6s since the deck makes them so easily, including Coral Dragon and the newly unbanned Brio, fresh off the list. One Hope Harbinger, so we can win more, and then Castell and the Utopia Boys for our 4s. So, with that, let's go into the games. Our first match is up against Trickstar, a deck for the new Link format that I desperately hope will be good. Unfortunately, on YGO Pro, they are currently forced to play without their signature Link monster, but once this switches over to Links, I am sure we will see it everywhere. We've drawn okay, we have a copy of Grass Looks Greener, and of course, a second copy of Grass Looks Greener. 60 cards, everybody. Our opponent is drawn even better, unfortunately. They have a copy of Trickstar Light Stage, the Contract with Dawn 1000, and the Dark Room of Nightmare, which is such a beating against this deck. This unfortunately means that if they are able to find one of their several cards that switches up our hand, we may find ourselves in a bigger brick scenario. So our opponent's going to get to go first. They're going to activate the Light Stage. They are going to use it to get a copy of Lycra Cyclica. God, I can't say this. Contract with Dawn 1000 their way into Disturbance Strategy, and now I'm going to have to take 1,000,000 damage and ship this entire hand back, and it looks pretty good despite having two once per turn effects. They're going to activate this Disturbance Strategy as soon as possible during my draw phase, send all these cards back and make me draw a new hand. And this hand is okay. Contract with Dawn 1000 means I'm going to have to set these spells before I'm able to set, but if I activate this Future Fusion, set this Whitestone of Legend, and pray, I might just be able to send a whole bunch of cards to the graveyard by milling, I don't know, a Cyberdarkness Dragon or a 5-God Dragon. Thankfully, they don't draw into a monster, and I do get to do so. Their plan is just going to be to stall me out. I'm going to use Future Fusion on 5-God Dragon because I have a couple of Keels in hand, and sending the materials for Cyberdarkness Dragon is not particularly sexy. We'll go ahead and get Keel, getting the Dragoonity Phalanx that I just set, and go into a Coral Dragon. This at least allows us to get rid of the Dark Room and stem the bleeding just a little bit. At the end phase, we'll get a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and suddenly we're in a bit of a favorable position as long as he can't find an additional 2,000 damage. He's going to go ahead and make Seraphinite and Lycra Cyclica, and then pass back. I will take, of course, another big load of damage, but I think this might be the end of the game because we do get the 5-God here. We're able to flip up this Whitestone to attack the 0/0, and he concedes. Our second match is up against Invoked Magicians, a deck that I don't think is particularly powerful, but I may be sleeping on. We've opened really well. This is the second setup that we were hoping for. By using Melody of Awakening Dragon, we can send Zephyros to graveyard, get a Blue Eyes and an alternative white dragon, special summon the alternative white, destroy a card, return it for Zephyros, normal summon the Phalanx, go into Dragoonity Knight, and then go into Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So basically one of the best turn 1 setups we could hope for. Our opponent is going to normal summon Choco Magician, send the Tricky to draw, just not particularly good. We're going to go ahead and use Melody to do the aforementioned play, make this alternative white, destroy this card, send it back for Zephyros, normal summon Dragoonity Phalanx, go into Dragoonity Knight, equip Phalanx, special summon Phalanx, go into Crystal Wing, and forget to attack like an absolute idiot. I was just too excited, can you blame me? They're going to normal summon Fairytale Cayuga, put a one-shot wand on it, and then Honest, which I will negate. Then afterwards, the card they draw off one-shot is Mahad, so out he comes, and that's not a big deal. I can walk over it and negate its effect. We have access to an alternative white as well, so we will be able to beat over for a lot of damage. By using Sage, we're going to go ahead and make a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon just to add a little bit of insult to injury, I believe. Another 2,500 puts him tantalizingly close to lethal, but I just couldn't make it happen. End step, we special summon a Blue Eyes off of the Whitestone of Ancients effect. He unfortunately just draws into another Alistair, which is basically target numero uno for Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and as soon as our turn happens, he concedes. Our third match is up against DDD, and it's the new DDD, playing all the Armageddons. Ugh, I liked their older albums a lot better. We've opened pretty poorly, but I guess we can't expect not to brick every game. We're going to go first, and unfortunately going first means just playing Sage, getting the egg, going for a Dragoonity Ravine, discarding the egg for a Phalanx, and then, I don't know, ending our turn with the Blue Eyes. Maybe that'll be good enough. Our opponent is going to go ahead and Swirl Slime their way into the good Genghis. God, I can't wait for this card, which will immediately get back the Savant Thomas. He's going to activate Grotesque Entity, which I will immediately Twin Twister. Of course, this gets negated by Executive Genghis. And afterwards he's going to go immediately into Super Doom Darkness Armageddon, which gets him both a Pendulum and the Exeased effect off of Grotesque Entity. Very powerful. Then he clears our board, domes us for 3,500, and says, good luck. Thankfully, we're not really out of it yet. We can use Gospel of Revival to get back Blue Eyes. This Cyberdark Horn is going to get us a copy of Phalanx, and then go into, of all things, Brio, which does not destroy, so we actually are in a pretty commanding position here. None of his cards really do anything either, but what should he draw but Dark Contract with the Gate? And from this point on, we're just completely boned. He's going to get really any Pendulum monster, special summon 2 guys, go into a rank 8 with Thomas, make Kali Yuga, attack over my Brio. I mean, what have you. Basically anything destroys me at this point. We have a lot of live draws, but Dragon Spirit of White is not one of them, and we will go ahead and end our turn knowing full well we are dead as hell. They're going to activate Laplace, get a Ghost, special summon like a billion cards, and, you know, I think that's enough. So we're back with a deck. I'm honestly shocked at how playable it was. I had no idea Cyberdarks were this close. I mean, if only Future Fusion was at 3 and there wasn't any spell or trap removal in the format, this would be like the 10th or 12th best thing you could be doing with the card. I mean, honestly, the deck has some pretty cool combo potential, which is neat, but unfortunately, it is nowhere near consistent enough to be playable. We need these cards that look like they're on Cyberdarkness Dragon to be real good if this deck is going to prosper. Maybe like some floaters, some stuff with engrave effects, things that make the fusions easier to summon, something. Anyway, it's a really cool deck, but honestly right now it just feels like a cute take on Blue Eyes White Dragon with a rank 6 engine rather than a fully realized archetype. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed my shameless attempt to get YouTube ad money out of this card twice. If you like these decks and you want to see me play them on stream, I'm on twitch.tv/monobluetron every Monday and Wednesday from 10 to noon Eastern Standard Time. Links in the description. Finally, if you have an idea for a certain deck or archetype you want me to play on this show, let me know in the comments section below so I can consider it. As a postscript, these Sunday vids are much better on my schedule, so from now on, 10-minute testing is going to be on Tuesday and Sunday. With that in mind, I'll see you Tuesday.